Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you found your way here, trust there's something in this message for you. Understand this space is about growth, truth, and transformation. We don't bypass here, we don't sugarcoat, and not every message will feel comfortable, but it will be honest. I speak in flow, and sometimes that includes cussing. It's just part of how the messages come through. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own discernment above all else. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. If you're new here, please know at this time I create weekly content in 3 parts. Part 1 focuses on what needs to be revealed. Part 2 focuses on what needs to be understood. And Part 3 focuses on what needs to be done. What changes do we need to make to embody whatever we happen to be discussing that week? Based on when you see this video, you'll see all available links to content in the series in the description box below. If it's not available yet, just know it's on its way. And I say all of that to say, this is going to be part 2 for this week, and this week's topic is integrity. And I'm calling this message, Integrity is Remaining Aligned as Life Becomes More Complex. Let's dive right in. Integrity is not simply honesty, morality, or following rules. It is the lifelong process of bringing every part of yourself into harmony, so that your inner life and outer life consistently reflect one another. It is the alignment of what you believe, what you know, what you value, what you feel, what you intend, what you say, what you do, how you use your abilities, how you treat others, how you respond to hardship, how you handle success, how you continue learning. Integrity is not one virtue among many. It is the principle that organizes every other virtue. Without integrity, even our greatest strengths can become harmful. With integrity, every aspect of our character supports every other aspect, creating a life that is internally unified and outwardly trustworthy. Also, if you watched part 1, this next header is going to sound very familiar, but they want me to tell you the repetition is necessary. This looks at a different aspect. So if you're having some deja vu, you're not wrong. Integrity is wholeness, not perfection. Integrity does not mean becoming flawless. It does not require eliminating weakness, fear, anger, pride, selfishness, or uncertainty. Instead, integrity asks you to become aware of every part of yourself and bring those parts into conscious alignment. A whole person understands I am capable of kindness and selfishness, wisdom and foolishness, courage and fear, generosity and greed, patience and anger, humility and pride. Wholeness comes from acknowledging all of these possibilities rather than denying them. You are not here to deny any aspect of yourself. Self-awareness creates freedom because what is seen clearly can be guided consciously. The goal is not perfection. The goal is integration. Integrity begins with alignment. Knowledge alone is not integrity. Good intentions alone is not integrity. Strong emotions alone are not integrity. Integrity begins when what you know becomes what you do. It asks, do your actions match your values? Do your words match your beliefs? Do your private choices match your public identity? Do your habits reflect the person you want to become? Whenever there is a gap between belief and behavior, integrity calls for honest self-examination and correction. Knowledge without action creates inconsistency. Action without principles creates aimlessness. Integrity unites both. Some of you may resonate with the phrase, I'm hearing as within, so without. That may resonate with someone. And again, they're just drawing me to the fact of, we've been talking about resilience. We have been talking about discipline. We have been talking about going within and really creating that stability inward as opposed to looking for it externally. And they're saying that is this alignment. That is what this is. Like they're showing me like a rod, but like within the body. But it's not just the spine. Like it starts up here, like above the head, and it goes all the way down, even in between the feet. And again, they just keep telling me self-mastery. Like integrity is the backbone. Integrity is the simplest way you're going to get to self-mastery. Because if you do this self-examination and you increase your self-awareness and you are willing to do the correction that you know you need to make, they're just saying everything's going to get easier. And this will get easier and easier to do with time. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And frankly, I'll say it however many times it needs to be said, but there is a level of accountability you have to hold within yourself when you're on this journey. And they're saying when it comes to integrity, for some of you, it may be a new level of accountability. And they're just saying it is your choice if you want to go down this, if you want to go down this path, to what extent and things of that sort. But you cannot have integrity. You cannot walk or embody integrity without this level of accountability. And again, this is not accountability in the sense of I know what changes I need to make. This is accountability in the sense of I need to make these changes and I'm going to make these changes. And if I slip back into old habits, I'm going to catch that shit and I'm going to fix it again until it just becomes second nature. Okay. Every moment builds character. Character is rarely shaped by dramatic moments alone. It is built through ordinary life. Every conversation, promise, decision, habit, reaction, responsibility, success, disappointment, relationship, conflict. Everything becomes practice. This is why it is important to participate in your reality. That is how you're going to get the fastest feedback on your progress. There are no insignificant moments because every choice strengthens or weakens the patterns that eventually define your character. Extraordinary moments simply reveal what ordinary habits have already built. Some of you could be listening to Alex Warren. Some of you could be listening to Alex Warren's song Ordinary. I know it's a song about a relationship. It's about his wife and his daughter, I'm pretty sure. It's actually a really beautiful song. But I keep hearing one line from it, and it's, "We'll make the mundane our masterpiece." And I'm getting the vibe that's really the invitation here. Some of you feel like you're moving through life very autopilot, and if you're having a harder time practicing being present, this may help you with that. Like, make the mundane your masterpiece, right? Even if you focus on one aspect that you want to be better with, you can do that. So, like, interesting, but I'll do that. I didn't even think about it. I just started doing it, and I've noticed it's had like a really big effect. Anytime I like go to check out of some place, if I'm actually interacting with a person, I actually have a cashier. I've been actually using their name on their name tag. And I asked, like, why did I actually start doing that? Because I'm always polite to them. They have to deal with a lot of people every day, and not everyone is pleasant. So I don't chat them up too much, but I just try to acknowledge that they're there and, harmless small talk. But the download I got with that was I was actually acknowledging their humanity, which I was like, okay, I was expecting something small, but they basically said, think about how many people go through their day, interact with those people, and never fully acknowledge them. They were like, you're not only seeing them with your eyes, like you are genuinely seeing them. And they told me that when I use their name, they can feel the fact that like I am present there with them and I'm witnessing them. And they actually said that's part of the reason why I have like such positive interactions with them. Like I can actually feel the energy lift when I do that. So I've now made that a habit. If they don't have a name tag, like I'm not going to make shit up. But if they do, I've been doing that. And it's kind of crazy how that one small shift has really made a difference for people. And actually, I have a few that I've run into a couple of times. And actually, they recognize me now too. So it's an interesting shift, but, really just wanted to focus on what small ways could I, you know, brighten up people's days just a little bit. The energy's been wonky lately. It's been heavy. I'm not a fan. And that's just something I started doing, and they were like, no, that one little shift is making the difference, not just for you, but also for those people. I've also noticed that the people who come after me in the line actually kind of follow suit as well. So it seems like that's kind of spreading, even if it's just for one person behind me. Again, it's almost like that energy shifts and like it lingers. So I don't know. That may be an example that someone can use. You don't need to make big shifts or big changes to have big impacts on others. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at that. Self mastery is the foundation of integrity. True strength begins with governing yourself. Before leading others, you must learn to lead yourself. This includes governing your emotions, impulses, speech, attention, desires, ambition, fears, and reactions. The strongest person is not the one who controls others. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you are someone who is currently leaning more toward controlling others, I'm hearing that tactic is going to become less and less effective moving forward. Why? And I shit you not, I do channel Gaia, so I don't know who needs to hear that. I channel other shit too, all right? I don't tell y'all all my secrets, but I channel Gaia, and I'm hearing Gaia does not want to continue supporting that type of energy. And if you're watching this, this is your heads up. If you need to start shifting that, I'm hearing you are supposed to shift out of that. It may not be right away, but Gaia is absolutely looking to dump that energy at some point. I don't know which video it was, but I said you can do things willingly, or you can be put in a situation where you have a choice. This is her invitation to you to course correct before that comes in. The strongest person is the one who consistently governs themselves. Self-mastery. Self-mastery creates genuine freedom because freedom without self-control easily becomes impulsiveness. Some of you need to look up the difference between impulsiveness and spontaneity. I don't know them off the top of my head. Spontaneity, I'll tell you what I feel energetically. Spontaneity feels like something you do, but it's aligned. Impulsiveness kind of feels like it is driven by something that maybe isn't as aligned, right? Like spontaneity to me is like, doing a day trip type of shit. You just decide to go somewhere and do something and like you have a great time and all that kind of shit. Impulsiveness to me is like you make a decision to do that and you kind of end up with like either a buyer's remorse or like, an experience remorse. It's like, well, in the moment it seems like a great idea, but now in hindsight, like, no, that wasn't the right idea. Like there's alignment energetically with spontaneity that does not exist with impulsiveness. Like the spontaneity feels like that's aligned with your greatest and highest good. For some of you, spontaneity is going to come through you just following your intuition. It's coming through again, babies. Follow your nudges at this time. Follow your nudges, even if they don't 100% make sense or they're not logical. Who said intuition was 100% logical? I assure you, it's not. It's not always out there and super ass whimsical, but it's not always logical. But yeah, impulsiveness. Some of you need to check your impulsive desires. I don't know why. I'm just hearing just because it looks good now doesn't mean it's going to look good later. Some of you need to check your habits. Are those habits serving your greatest and highest good? Babies, I'm going to say it because it's come through, and I think I'm going to leave it after that. But some of you, there is a connection for someone. I'm hearing you're going to feel this in your chest. Hard. Some of you need to check your impulsiveness between, I'm not going to lie, I'm beating around the bush because I'm trying to be gentle and they told me stop that. So some of you are in the public eye to a certain extent, and it feels like you have this public image and there's something either you did or you do in your private life that is tied to impulsiveness. And I'm hearing that does not serve your greatest and highest good. There is reconciliation between those three things that you need to look at. Public image, private life, impulsiveness. That can go so many different directions. I'm not going to even touch it. That is for someone. You're going to feel it hard in your chest. They say you already know what it is. Look at it. I'm not going to lie. That feels like warning energy. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. It's just warning energy. Focus on what is actually in your control. I'm just hearing align your shit. Align your shit. Someone needs to reconcile their public image with their private life. And there, again, there is some aspect of your private life that is tied to impulsiveness that needs to be examined. Leaving it. Independence must lead to responsibility. Personal independence is important. Learning to stand on your own, learning responsibility, learning discipline, learning self-reliance, learning emotional maturity are all important. But independence is not the final goal. It creates the ability to contribute responsibly instead of living independence upon external validation or external control. Maturity transforms independence into responsibility. We good? Are we good? Okay. Every strength has a shadow. Every gift carries both constructive and destructive potential. Confidence can become arrogance. Intelligence can become manipulation. Creativity can become self-indulgence. Leadership can become domination. Knowledge can become superiority. Success can become vanity. Compassion can become unhealthy self-sacrifice. Humor can become mockery. Independence can become isolation. Discipline can become rigidity. Love can become possessiveness. Freedom can become irresponsibility. None of these qualities are inherently good or bad. Their direction depends upon the motives guiding them. Integrity continually asks, why am I using this strength? Who does it serve? Is it truth, others, my ego, my fear, my need for recognition? Strength becomes virtue only when guided by integrity. The greatest battle is internal. Most of life's deepest conflicts happen inside ourselves. Comfort competes with growth. Fear competes with courage. Control competes with trust. Pride competes with honesty. Recognition competes with humility. Certainty competes with curiosity. Self-interest competes with service. Discipline competes with impulse. These tensions never completely disappear. Integrity develops by becoming aware of them and choosing consciously rather than reacting automatically. Again, babies, I'm just hearing all that glitters isn't gold. Some of you just need to slow down in general. I don't know how that applies, but there's something about impulsiveness and urgency. Again, just hearing slow down. Slow down. You don't miss what is genuinely aligned to you. And you don't always have to take what is presented to you. And I'm not going to lie, there is a layer of cryptidness I'm not being allowed to tap into. I think that's going to mean different things to different people. They're saying trust what is coming up for you when you hear that, if something's coming up for you. Difficult circumstances reveal character. Conflict, scarcity, loneliness, failure, loss, uncertainty, unfamiliar environments, pressure. These situations do not create character as much as they reveal it. Stress exposes existing habits. Hardship uncovers hidden motives. Difficulty reveals both hidden weaknesses and hidden strengths. Integrity grows strongest when remaining true to your principles becomes most difficult. I'm hearing forged in fire. Some of you feel forged in fire. And they're saying, yeah. Challenges become opportunities to strengthen alignment between values and behavior. Growth happens through cycles. Growth is rarely linear. Instead, it follows recurring cycles: learning, testing, failure, reflection, correction, greater understanding, greater responsibility, new challenges. The cycle repeats. And babies, they're just saying failure is a part of the experience. If everything went your way, you would learn nothing. You would change nothing. You would do nothing different. All right? So I don't know if someone recently had a failure or what they view as a failure, and they're really beating themselves up about it. They're just lovingly saying, like, baby, that's not the point, right? What can you learn from that experience? What from that experience is useful for you to carry with you moving forward? What will you do different? What new perspectives did you gain? Things of that sort. Integrity is not reaching a final destination. It is remaining committed to continual refinement throughout life. And again, they're just saying that experiences will come up naturally if you just let them. That will allow you to examine this when the time is right. I do feel like some of you need to do some reflecting now to get yourself started. And they're saying that's okay. But again, this isn't a one and done type of thing. It's just not. And that's really what they want you to take away. Relationships reveal integrity. Integrity is visible in how you relate to other people. Healthy relationships require honesty, respect, equality, mutual growth, trust, emotional presence, openness, healthy boundaries. I don't know who needs to hear that. They told me, say the last one again. Healthy relationships require healthy boundaries. Relationships lose integrity when they continue primarily because of habits, fear, dependency, convenience, avoiding change, emotional numbness. People remain connected not because the relationship is healthy, but because leaving feels difficult. Integrity asks whether relationships continue to foster life, growth, honesty, and mutual flourishing. Babies, it is re-evaluation season whenever you are watching this. That is being screamed at me. Pay attention, not just to others, but to yourself. Big, what are you carrying forward with you and what cannot go? Again, that is yourself and others. Communication is meant to build understanding. Words possess tremendous influence. Communication is not simply about entertaining people or persuading them. Its highest purpose is creative understanding, sharing truth, offering hope, helping others learn, encouraging growth, reducing confusion. Speaking responsibly becomes an expression of integrity. This is a time to be mindful with your words to yourself and to others. Some of you are going through some challenging experiences right now, and I'm hearing you can honor your truth without causing unnecessary harm. And I'm hearing you are being called to do that. You want to do better, you need to be better. Babies, I don't know who needs to hear this, and I don't view everyone this way, so use your discernment. But some of you are in situations with people where this feels like they know how to push your buttons. I'm hearing they really know how to scrape the bottom of the barrel. You need to work on disciplining yourself when dealing with these people. Because I don't know who needs to hear this, but baby, some people do genuinely energetically feed off of your reactions. And the fastest way to starve them bitches is to not give them that. And it just takes a level of discipline and practice to just not feed them. Because you know how I tend to get them to go away? I get my Curtis on. I tap into my inner 50 Cent. I don't know what you heard about me, but a bitch can't get $1 out of me. No free meals here for you. Go somewhere else. All right? You're not going to get the reaction you want out of me. Why? Because I see you, ho. I know exactly what you're doing. You ain't getting none of that shit here. So either either way, you leaving empty-handed. Because I'm very good with these words, and I will let you know exactly what's going on in my mind. And I will say it from a neutral position, so you're real fucking clear where we stand. And you didn't get anything you wanted. And I know I've got the discipline where anytime you try to bring that fuck shit over here, that I'm going to make sure you starve. You will leave me alone, one way or another. Some of you need to get on that type of time. Some of you are starting to clock that shit. Good. Move appropriately. All right? Don't be feeding shit you're not interested in keeping in your experience. What is moving forward with you? Get real clear. Also, I don't know who needs to hear this, but the more you tell that shit no, the more the universe pays attention. Why? Because you're showing consistency. I consistently recognize this. I consistently respond appropriately. I consistently tell the universe no. You may find that shit just really starts making its way out of your experience. Know where your power lies. Stand in that shit. Self-mastery. Truth requires intellectual humility. Seeking truth requires openness. It requires curiosity, questioning assumptions, welcoming correction, changing your mind when evidence changes, listening carefully, admitting mistakes, accountability, remaining teachable, protecting your identity prevents learning. Protecting truth allows growth. Integrity values discovering what is true more than proving yourself right. Some of you are starting to realize certain fights are not worth fighting. Some of you are recognizing certain things are just falling on deaf ears. They're saying you're meant to be noticing that. Many forms of intelligence must work together. Human understanding is multidimensional. There is analytical intelligence, creative intelligence, scientific thinking, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, practical wisdom, ethical judgment, reflective insight, spiritual awareness. None of these alone is sufficient. Maturity comes from integrating all of them. The highest intelligence is balance, knowing when each form of understanding is appropriate. Compassion requires discipline. Kindness alone is not enough. Good intentions become dependable character through consistency, patience, reliability, self-control, perseverance, daily practice. Again, I'm hearing make the mundane your masterpiece. Integrity transforms compassion from occasional emotion into consistent behavior. And they're saying you can do this naturally. Build the habit. You won't have to think about things so much. Again, stand and act in your integrity. Get your alignment. This becomes a lot easier. Character is built through repeated actions rather than isolated moments. Again, consistency, practice. Principles must stay stable while methods stay flexible. Integrity is neither rigid nor passive. Core values remain stable. Methods adapt to changing circumstances. Wisdom knows how to apply the same principles differently depending on context without abandoning those principles. Flexibility without principles becomes inconsistency. Principles without flexibility become rigidity. Integrity balances both. Babies, I don't know who needs to hear this, but it's coming through real strong. You can be a love, warm, and kind person and still stand on big fucking business when it comes to your boundaries. I feel like someone wants to put boundaries in place. They know they need to put boundaries in place. And with all the love in the world, I'm just going to say it feels like when it comes to execution, you waffle. Like, I don't know why that's the word coming through, but you waffle. And we've all been there. But babies, you have to integrate that shadow in. If you are not willing to stand up for yourself and let people know how you expect to be treated, there are some people who will just constantly take advantage of you because you allow it. And some of you need to understand that some of these people have been guided into your life for the sole purpose of you learning how to create boundaries. And I know that's hard to hear, and I know that's hard to accept, but I have to tell you, there is truth in that. And how long they're in your life and acting this way is really up to your discretion. Sometimes you have to tell others and you have to tell the universe no. Like, you need to be the change you want to see in your experience. You know, and one of the things I really, really love and genuinely appreciate about myself is the fact that, I mean, it's even with my family. It's even with my family, you know. They always joke, like, Beth is very loving, very kind, will literally give you the shirt off my back if I need to. But at the same time, if you fuck around or you step out of bounds with me, my clapbacks are legendary. Legendary. I got a quick wit and a smart mouth, and I will let you know, ho, your baby toe is on my fucking line. Get it off. And I will do it in a way that is not overly aggressive, but I'm clapping back to be like, you need to knock this shit off now. Like, this ain't good for your health. It ain't good for your well-being. Like, you on my boundary, get off it. All right? I just don't take shit from no one. And again, I handle business in the moment, and then I go back to who I really am, which sorry, they just said a fucking ray of sunshine. I do try to be a ray of sunshine as much as I can, but again, no, if you are acting up, I got no problem calling you out. What are we doing here? Where do we go from here? You want to go to hell? Baby, I have already been to the underworld more than once. I ain't scared. I know my way out. Do you? What are we doing? All right? You are capable of both. Doesn't mean you always have to be in one versus the other. But again, it's having the capability and the conscious choice of what energy you're tapping into for how long and where you end up in the end. You are capable of doing that. I am just mirroring to you what you are already capable of doing. You just have to believe you can do it too. And then act on it. Start aligning to that. I'm going to leave that there. Discernment looks beyond appearances. Things are not always what they first seem. Success is not always progress. Failure is not always defeat. Some of you need to know rejection is divine protection. There's absolutely truth in that. So again, failure is not always defeat. They want me to mention something I've mentioned before. At this stage in my journey, I am most grateful for the things that did not work out for me. And I really do mean that. Failure is not always defeat. Sometimes it really is your greatest gift. You just don't realize it in the moment. Comfort is not always healthy. Difficulty is not always harm. Popularity is not always truth. Recognition is not always wisdom. Discernment means evaluating situations according to deeper principles rather than immediate appearances or emotional reactions. Identity must never become an idol. One of the greatest dangers is becoming attached to an image of yourself. I am the wise one, the good person, the expert, the teacher, the successful one, the spiritual one. Once protecting this identity becomes more important than learning, integrity begins to weaken. Humility keeps growth alive. A mature person remains willing to say, I don't know. I was wrong. I have more to learn. Identity should support growth, not replace it. Development expands who you are. Growth does not replace earlier parts of yourself. It expands them. A mature person remains curious like a scientist, creative like an artist, disciplined like an athlete, compassionate like a caregiver, courageous like a protector, reflective like a philosopher, wise like a teacher, joyful like a child, socially skilled like an entertainer, independent like a craftsperson. These capacities are not meant to compete. Integrity integrates them into one coherent person. You are not here to deny any aspect of yourself. You are here to mature these aspects into a healthier expression of a whole person. Every area of life is connected. Integrity is fractal. The same principles appear at every scale. How you keep a promise reflects how you lead. How you speak to strangers reflects how you understand humanity. How you treat yourself influences how you treat others. Baby, some of you need to start treating yourself like you treat others. You don't come last. I don't know who needs to hear that. You do not come last. How you handle small responsibilities predicts how you will handle great ones. Nothing exists in isolation. Small patterns become large patterns. Make the mundane your masterpiece. Inner life shapes outer life. The condition of your inner world influences every external relationship. Internal clarity produces clearer decisions, healthier relationships, better leadership, more stable communities, greater trust, more responsible influence. The external world is not completely determined by the inner world, but internal alignment profoundly shapes how you participate in and influence the world around you. Be the change you want to see. Embodiment. Responsibility grows with ability. As your abilities increase, your responsibilities increase. More knowledge requires greater honesty. More influence requires greater humility. More freedom requires greater self-discipline. More leadership requires greater service. More success requires greater stewardship. Growth is inseparable from accountability. I'm going to throw this damn notebook. Time reveals integrity. Integrity is measured over years rather than moments. Today's habits become tomorrow's character. And I'm hearing you can change starting right now. I don't know why they're just saying like it's kind of funny actually. They're just saying like you don't have to wait until the first of the year to make changes. You can make a change any moment of the day. Honestly, that's how I feel about New Year's resolutions. I don't really do them. I don't care. If I change my mind and it feels aligned, I'm going to start right then and there. I don't wait. So I don't know if that resonates with someone or how, but that came through. So I'm going to leave that there. All right. Today's habits become tomorrow's character. Character becomes reputation. Reputation shapes relationships. Relationships influence communities. Communities shape future generations. Every decision leaves consequences that extend beyond the present. Integrity accumulates. Its absence accumulates as well. They're taking me back. I think that goes all the way back to desire. What are you building? What are you creating? What are you sustaining? What do you want to see moving forward? And they're saying not everything needs to be looked at such this large scale. But some of you need to understand like the ripple effect can be crazy in this experience. Be the change you want to see. Step into your, right, embody this integrity. Live your values. Become as whole as you possibly can. Why? Because that's where your truth is. That's where your authenticity is. That is the fastest way to meet who is in alignment with you and understand who is not. Babies, there's just this energy of do not underestimate the changes that you make at this time and the impact it can have on your experience. For some of you, it's funny. Some of you know that time is not actually linear and all that fun shit. If you know, you know. Not everyone's at that point on their journey. Some of us know about quantum jumping, quantum leaping, all that happy shit. Not everyone does, but some of you need to remain open to the fact that small changes you make and you consistently hold can have a large impact on your experience faster than you may expect. And I feel like that needs to be as open-ended as it is, because the way that can come through is there's too many ways that can go. There's too many timelines. I'm not tapping into all of that, but be mindful with your decisions. I'm just hearing some of you are gonna let certain people go, and you're gonna be surprised how fast they get replaced. I don't know. That's just coming through, but I'm gonna leave that there. Service is the mature expression of growth. Personal growth is not meant to end with personal achievement. As maturity increases, attention naturally shifts from asking, what can I gain, toward asking, what can I contribute? Knowledge becomes teaching. Strength becomes protection. Resources become generosity. Leadership becomes stewardship. Success becomes responsibility. Wisdom naturally expands concern beyond yourself toward the well-being of others. You pour into your own cup first, and then you pour into others. I don't know why I'm hearing on the plane you put your face mask on first before you help others. That's significant for someone. Maybe someone's traveling a lot right now. Again, I want me to say it one more time. Wisdom naturally expands concern beyond yourself toward the well-being of others. Continuous self-correction is essential. Integrity is never finished. It requires continual examination. Notice misalignment. Accept responsibility. Correct course. Learn. Practice. Repeat. The goal is not to avoid mistakes. The goal is to become increasingly responsive to them. Stability comes from continually returning to alignment, not from never drifting. Dynamic balance rather than fixed rules. Integrity is not static. It is living balance. It continually balances confidence without arrogance, humility without insecurity, compassion without losing boundaries, strength without domination, discipline without rigidity, freedom without irresponsibility, love without dependency, achievement without vanity, wisdom without pride, independence without isolation. Integrity is not choosing one side. It is wisely managing the tension between both. Those are those poles, and you're trying to balance them out. Ideally, bring them to neutral so you can consciously choose which end you want to be in for how long, and then again, bring it back into balance. The deepest obstacle is self-deception. The greatest danger is not simply lying to others. It is lying to yourself, ignoring your motives, justifying harmful behavior, protecting your image, avoiding uncomfortable truths, believing growth is complete. Integrity requires the courage to see yourself accurately, even when that is uncomfortable. Honest self-awareness protects every other virtue. Babies, I don't know who needs to hear this, but again, they're bringing me back to some of you are having unpleasant experiences potentially at this time. And a lot of you are focused on what the other person is doing. And they need you to look at yourself too. Because anytime I've been really honest with myself, I've found I have a hand in that pot too. Even if it was small, that I actually was doing something that was contributing to that. And a lot of it for me was really lack of boundaries. What you're not willing to say no to, what you're not willing to walk away from, when you're not willing to speak up for yourself, you are, to a certain extent, accepting that experience. You are allowing that, and to a certain extent, you condone it. Your lack of action is still interpreted as an action by the universe. And I'm not saying you deserve this treatment. I'm not saying this treatment is warranted. But you have to look at yourself. It is part of the process. And there are absolutely moments where you have to own the fact that you are the fucking problem. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but that is part of it. It really is. You cannot bypass that. All right? And I also don't know who needs to hear this, but there is a thing called a victim villain. I've also seen victimizer script. Some of you may feel like you're in that. You cannot get out of that script if you don't look at yourself. Because all you're going to see is these people are doing these things to me. These people are doing these things to me. These people are doing these things to me. You are still involved in that experience, and you still have action that you can take to impact that experience. Some of you really need to get out of that script, and you will only get out of that by acting differently. And again, I'm hearing you can honor your truth without unnecessary harm. But some of you really do keep your shadow energy suppressed. I'm hearing you keep it in your back pocket. And some of you explode when you get pushed too far. And I'm very lovingly hearing you can do better than that. They want you to integrate that. Why? Because you don't have to hold shit in until it builds and you explode. They're saying that's not sustainable. Some of you know that's causing harm. And again, there's a level of discipline, self-mastery, and accountability that needs to be looked at. You're really being called to up your self-awareness, increase your self-awareness. And some of you know that. I'm hearing you felt that in your heart space. The highest expression of integrity. Integrity ultimately becomes a way of being rather than a list of behaviors. It produces someone who is steady under pressure, adaptable without abandoning principles, confident without needing approval, humble without diminishing themselves, generous without seeking recognition, truthful without becoming self-righteous, disciplined without becoming inflexible, compassionate without becoming naive, strong without becoming harsh, wise without believing they have finished learning. Their stability comes from internal alignment rather than external circumstances. Again, babies, anything that is built off of external circumstances is just not, it's not built to last. I don't know why I keep hearing this phrase. I'm not going to even lie. I don't even like this phrase. I don't get it. But I just keep hearing, do it for the gram. Do it for the gram. Do it for Instagram. Do it for TikTok. Babies, I don't know why that's coming up, but I'm getting an energy of like, ugh. Like, ugh. You know? All right. Let me collect that. Okay. Babies, this performative shit is not the way forward. Doing it for the gram, doing shit just to post it on social media. I'm just hearing the performative stuff is going to start feeling so fucking fake that it's gonna start giving people the ick. Those who are standing in authenticity and their truth are going to be started being highlighted. How? I don't know. But the fakers are gonna start looking fake as fuck. And people are going, like, they're not gonna be able to keep faking. Gaia don't like that energy either. She is shifting shit. And if you don't think the planet can shift energy, woo, baby, that is its own video. You would be surprised. She is gonna shake shit up, and the divine is gonna work with her for this. If you are not standing in your authenticity, if you are not embodying integrity, if you are not acting in self-awareness, I gotta be honest, I'm gonna sum this up because I don't look at the timer, but I know this video is getting longer. This is giving changing of the guard type of energy. Fakers are gonna start falling off, and those in authenticity and truth are going to start rising. Why? Because that is the path forward. That is the way forward. That is the example that needs to be set. There it is. All right. And this is public life, public image, and private life. That needs to be relatively aligned. Alrighty. The central message, the deepest message is that integrity is not about appearing good, earning admiration, or maintaining a flawless identity. It is the lifelong practice of becoming whole. It is the ongoing work of bringing every part of yourself into harmony so that your beliefs, motives, words, emotions, actions, relationships, abilities, and responsibilities all support one another. As life becomes more complex, integrity asks you to keep making the same essential choice to use your knowledge, talents, relationships, influence, and power in service of truth, responsibility, compassion, humility, and the flourishing of both yourself and others. That is who is going to be rising and be setting the examples and the divine is going to be guiding people toward those people. Why? Because that is the way forward. And I'm hearing either you're going to get with that program, you're going to be given an opportunity to get with that program, or your ass is getting left behind. I just work here. This path is never complete. It unfolds through continual learning, honest self-examination, disciplined action, humble correction, and an enduring commitment to align your inner life with your outer life. In that sense, integrity is not a destination, but an ongoing practice of becoming increasingly whole, increasingly trustworthy, and increasingly capable of contributing to the well-being of the world around you. Leave it there. Yep, I don't think I could end that any better myself. All right, baby, so that is going to conclude part 2 of integrity. I will be back later this week with what needs to be done to look at how we actually embody this moving forward. So tune into that if that resonates with you. If it doesn't, just know it'll still be there if you ever change your mind. All right. Take care of yourselves, beautiful beings. Until next time, bye.